You're watching Bad Bible Movies, a subsidiary of BBDs.
Yeah.
Enjoy the episode, like and comment, and oh, don't be a POSFF in the comments if you can. Thank you so much for being here. Now back to your regularly scheduled Bad Bible content.
Welcome to BBMs. My name is Quill.
I'm Tahir.
Good, you nailed it.
Thank you.
And today we are reviewing The Reconciler. Tahir, you picked this one, so I'm going to let you kind of give the gloss over of it.
Yeah, so The Reconciler is basically the Saw ripoff of the Christian community.
It
And
basically does a disservice to how much of a ripoff it was of Saw.
yeah, even like having seen Saw, not to spoil it, the big plot twist I saw coming from the beginning because
So that's one of the first things I wanted to talk to you about is at what point did you know the plot twist? No, we don't have to give it away necessarily.
when he was laying on the ground.
Like at the very start.
Yeah.
I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I like the first time that I maybe even started talking. 'Cause, like it's just so obvious what's going to happen. It was a little bit different than I thought it was going to be, but overall, it's pretty obvious what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. They did get me a little bit. Like I knew half of what the twist was going to be. It was pretty obvious. But yeah, that's The Reconciler.
Honestly, just if you've seen Saw, you've seen The Reconciler.
Pretty much. Yeah, just cross it off your list.
Our movie opens with Jacket Guy, I'll call him throughout this. He's both over and underacting at the same time, and it takes a special breed, I think.
Well, don't do him a disservice because his name is Smitty. Okay?
Smitty.
It's not Jacket Guy.
Smitty for the first 3 seconds of the movie.
Right? You're so right. But yeah, no, I agree. I will say of all of the acting, that was not the worst part.
It's just fine to me because like he's clearly overacting with like his dialogue and stuff, and he's trying to be up here, the whole time. And then like when he goes to hit the wall, and he's just like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
When he hits the keypad.
Yeah, no, actually, that's funny because one of the first things that I noticed when I was watching it, so like, not to be petty, but like, he gets up, he's in a tizzy, he walks over, and he's like, beep, boop, boop, on the keypad, like, no thought, rhyme, or reason. He's just like, boop, 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 it's not working. And then...
he tries his birthday, and that's it. And then he's done.
Yep. And then he runs over to the door and he starts banging on the door. But do you see it open and close? Open.
It's wobbling. I saw it wobbling like to beat hell. Like it was just
it wobbling? Because it looked like if somebody was on the other side. He bangs.
Somebody was holding it back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it looked like.
I agree completely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I agree. He's somehow over and underacting at the same time. But
and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Cane Guy is on the ground, and he goes over and just pokes him with his cane, and just looks like he's ready to beat his ass. Like this guy is clearly in distress too.
Right. I was thinking that too. I'm like, you really think I was gonna say. You really think that the person that did this to you is going to be in the same room as you?
As unconscious, if not more so than you.
Right, exactly.
And then he gets, like, the dialogue throughout the entire movie is just so cheesy and over the top, and just, it makes no sense. And so, Cane Guy gets up and he's like, can I have my cane back? My leg hurts, which in my mind is just like, he's just going to get up and beat him with it. Like, it's the oldest trick in the book. Mm-hmm. He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
He goes over to the keypad and he's just like, so let's see, the average lock has 4 digits, 10,000 and I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you just did that in your head.
Oh, right. Well, because that's what I noticed is like, I suck at math. And so I was like, could I have done that equation on the spot? Absolutely not. So that is what I noticed.
Yeah, he just does, like, he is the worst actor in the movie. He has to be like the director or something. I didn't look into it, but like, I
agree.
Surely,
I agree. Yeah, because
that's what
I was saying is like all of the acting is not bad other than him. Yeah, other than him.
He's just so hammy about everything.
Yeah, and you don't buy it. You don't buy any of it. Like, because that's what I was going to say. Then they start trying to figure out how to get out. And he does this thing where he's like, son, like, oh, young man. And he's like, what, in his mid-40s? And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm not buying this at all.
He also clearly cuts his own hair, which I won't dwell on too much, but it makes his head look twice as big in the back, and it's so distracting throughout the movie to me.
And he does his own makeup, you can tell. The eyeliner.
I don't know credit due. The camera work is not terrible. Like, it's not like overly complicated either, but like it looks like a movie.
It's giving B movie, be real.
You think? I don't know. I was giving it up a higher echelon. I was saying B plus movie, I think.
No, solid B, not B plus.
Their captives gave them extra toilet paper, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, I agree, because that's one of the things I said. I'm like, so he looks in the bathroom, he goes, oh man. And I'm like, why? It's actually a pretty clean bathroom. Like
as far as like prisoner of war bathrooms are concerned,
right,
pretty
right. Like, I mean, if you've seen Saw, that's one of the things is like that. It's the first one. That bathroom is disgusting.
The worst bathroom. Like, take every truck stop you've ever been to, and multiply it by 3.
I'm like literally thinking about the toilet, and I'm about to gag. Like, it's that bad. And never once are they like, oh, crap, this room is dirty, or like, this sucks. But in this movie, he's like, oh man. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Because the garbage is just a bag tied to the shelf.
And there's like an open box on the floor or something.
Right. Right, exactly.
He also, I think his name is Ed, actually. He over enunciates everything. And we kind of touched on that, but it's just so like over the top. Like, everything he does. I will say though, when Jacket Guy is climbing up to the vent, he does have a pretty hilarious line about not breaking his leg, and it's like, okay, I see what you did there, because his leg. You get it?
Oh, see, no, because to me it was more of this like not that old guy pretending to be really old.
None of it makes any sense.
No.
He's also clearly the kind of guy that would say fudge instead of fuck.
Yeah, it's giving fudge for sure.
Right. So then the next scene, it goes to Lori, who is just like feverishly typing away on this computer. Are you with me on they had to have ADR'd in that typing noise because it was just so loud?
No, I think she was just like in that scene.
Maybe she was. I feel like they had to have put that in after the movie was actually shot, just to make it louder for Foley.
Maybe, but what really strikes me about that scene, and this might just be, again, me being petty because, like, it's a movie, but the fact that she's typing along and speaking what she's writing, gets on my nerves because I'm like, who really does that? Like,
It's kind of like when people like call their sister in a movie sis, and it's like nobody really says that.
Right. Hey sis. Yeah, so true. Like they have to tell us.
Rowdy Roddy Piper, who you didn't recognize, is an actual like professional wrestler from Canada.
Not like a WWE wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
WWF for sure. But he was around for a long time, so
yeah, I know the name.
Yeah, that's him though.
Okay.
Like, he's a real guy that did real things at some point.
Well, but then we're talking about, Roddy Piper, and like he went from being like a fairly legitimate wrestler to acting in this crappy Christian B movie.
Yeah.
And
so he's on the way up is what we're saying.
Right. But I mean, now that I'm thinking back on it, his acting was another low point because I wasn't jiving with that either.
And you'd honestly kind of think that his acting wouldn't be bad just because he's at least been in front of crowds and stuff.
Right.
But then you see what he had to work with, so.
Fair enough. Maybe he did the best.
What I really liked is he had like his pen in his ear, like, classic reporter kind of stuff, but he had it like this far out, like unnaturally far. Like, they had to have glued it to his ear or something.
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't notice that.
You gotta rewatch it. It's so far out.
That's funny.
So I just imagine the director being like, a little further.
Right, push it.
You're a reporter, okay? Reporters have pens in their ear.
Need to see the pen, and it didn't even work because I didn't notice it.
Right. And so then we're introduced to Lori and Roddy's, I don't even remember his name or care. We're introduced to their dynamic, which is she's an atheist. Sort of. Like,
Church
she's
hurt.
like he's talking to her and she's like, God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally everything I need to know about her character. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Because then even she circles back at some point, and we'll get there, I'm sure, but she's like, oh, why does it always have to be about that? About God? Yeah. And I'm like,
yeah, in a story about God being on the decline in America, she's exasperated that it always has to come back to religion for some reason.
Right. Because, yeah, that's what his whole thing is. He's like, I'm going to put you on this story. It's a real story. You've been writing fluff pieces about weddings, but this is a real story. And he's like looking out the window and into the distance. And he's like, I've seen some changes out there. And then he says, people have equal rights for the most part, or something like that.
The way he said that, by the way, made me think that he thought it was a bad thing.
I agree. I agree. But then I was thinking about it and I'm like, he had to say that though because of what happens later in the movie.
Right, absolutely. And then he ends with Monday on my desk, I want it. In that way.
Very Yoda. I agree.
Yeah, very Yoda. Mm-hmm. Just absolutely the way normal people say English words.
Exactly.
Ed is just getting frustrated with Schmitty answering questions normally.
What do you mean?
He's just getting like he'll ask a question and then he gives him the answer and he's like, "What are you talking like?"
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah, and speaking of the answers, one of the questions he asks him is, do you have a girlfriend? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, how's your relationship? And he's like, how is your relationship? And he's like, well, she's not the kind of girl who would do something like this yet.
It was really awkward. And I feel like I'm going to say that constantly, that it was awkward, but that stuck out to me as like, why are you so like backtracky about, like, he's asking you a pretty basic question here.
Well, and why is he joking like that in that moment? He's like, she's not the kind of girl that would do this yet. You know? And I was like,
nudge, nudge.
Right. I was like, such a weird way to answer that question.
Right. They do a hard flash cut to the church, and I thought it was a commercial. Like I thought that my video paused and it went to a commercial because it's just so out of nowhere, and it's like they're trying to set like ambience for something that never comes up again.
Yeah, no, the scene transitions aren't great.
No, it's just instantaneous, and it just doesn't look good, I guess.
No.
So I guess it's a pastor. Is it a pastor that she's talking to?
Yeah, like a preacher.
Is that a different pew than her? Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Just so he can turn around and do the like let's rap thing?
Yeah,
you
like
know what I'm talking about?
I'm cool, I'm casual, I've got my arm rested on the pew.
And I think he has the most awkward introduction in the movie because his first lines are, I know your mom really well.
Yeah.
Like, really well.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's again just awkward. I don't know what else to say besides it's just awkward. It's
it
so
is
damn awkward.
It
everywhere.
is. Yeah, I agree. The interactions are awkward for sure. But in this particular scene, what cracks me up is because she's sent there to interview him, and he's like, well, you could interview me and other professionals, but I have this already prepared list of regular everyday people that you should talk to instead.
As any good pastor would.
Right.
He's got it right. Locked and loaded.
Exactly. But
before that, Lori makes a comment. She's supposed to be an atheist-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not going to have a real atheist in this movie, obviously, but she says, church seems to make her mom a better person, which like any good atheist would say.
Right. It's so true. Yeah. Without it, she'd be a shit person, but at least with this, she's kind of decent.
Right. Which got me confused because I was like, is she supposed to be? Clearly she is. But she's
supposed to be a what?
Atheist.
Oh, right.
He gives her the idea to interview plain folks, which everybody in the whole movie is like, wow, what an interesting angle. And I'm like, is it really though? Like, no. So she takes his pre-prepared list of plain folks, and gets on her way.
Yeah.
They then go to a soup kitchen where Mike from Breaking Bad is just sitting there for some reason. Did you see that guy?
No, I didn't. Well, I mean, yeah, but I didn't know that's who it
just like
was.
him. It's
Oh,
not.
okay.
They don't have real actors. It just looks just like him. And she talks to the soup merchant, we'll call him, or soup vendor rather, and he has a lot of terrible ideas on America and religion.
What do you mean?
So he starts off by saying that kids can't pray in school, which is absolutely untrue. We all know that they can if they want. It's just it can't be a mandatory led prayer, which everybody should think is a good thing.
Right, I agree.
For all the obvious reasons.
Right, but of course the Christians would not.
He also said that I had captions on for this, which was a mistake because they were always bad. But one really funny one was he said it's an arrestable offense, which my caption said wrestlable offense, which I thought was hilarious.
That is funny.
Given that Roddy Piper's in the movie.
Right.
He goes on to say that prayer is what this country was built on, which I don't even know how you could get to that. Like, even as a Christian, I feel like that's a pretty big leap.
I mean, I could get you there, but it's pointless. I'm not wasting my time to do that.
In classic, Dick Wolf, the guy that does like Law and
Order, yeah.
Yeah, who has no idea what a human conversation sounds like, which will come up again later. The guy goes on to just start ladling broth in classic Dick Wolf fashion to nobody. No one's there in line. Like, they just showed it, and the room is completely empty. But he's like, "I'm gonna ladle my broth."
I didn't notice that.
Just on the off chance that somebody comes in later and wants cold broth.
That's funny.
Yeah, we go back to Saw. In a different movie again, where Jacket Man gets a free ribbon with a key that he just didn't happen to notice was in his pocket before. So they use the key. They find out that the key opens a chest, and I don't know if you caught on to it or not, but like Jumanji drums just started playing in the background while they were opening this. You didn't hear it?
No.
Like, it's like, if you've ever seen Jumanji, it's just like that. They're just like trying to build the suspense so hard that it's painful.
Well, I don't know. It was fairly suspenseful because you're like, what's in the box? What's in the box? You know, like Brad Pitt style. And then
I felt so good.
they open the box and there's a dead body in there, except it's not.
Is that a dead body? Only one way to find out. Like, really? Just one? There's only one way to find out if that's a dead body or not.
Right, just the one and only.
The trunk had, I think his name was Alex. Is that right?
I don't remember what his name was, to be honest.
Who cares, honestly?
Yeah.
Now that I say it out loud.
But it's
his twin brother.
Yeah, Smitty's
His
twin
was
brother.
in the case, yeah. And the box had no air holes, so they were really, really counting on him getting this box open faster than they did.
Right. It was close. He was almost on his way out. But
I don't know about you. My first reaction was, we do not need two of this man in this movie.
yeah, I don't know. I liked them. I thought they were cute. Yeah, two handsome Asian men, fairly decent actors. Decent.
There were a lot of Asian people in this movie. Like, was this like a ministry kind of thing? Like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a, you know what I'm talking about.
You're right, because the soup merchant, he was Asian, right? And for some reason in my head, I had him as Jamaican. Yeah.
with his, like, talking about...
Yes! And now that you mention it, because I remember seeing the soup scene and going, I didn't realize a whole lot of Asian people were Christian, which, maybe.
It's like missionaries, I think is the word I'm trying to think of, where they, like, come over and they're basically forced to be Christian.
Oh.
And then that's what I'm thinking. I think this is a movie of one of those families. Good on them.
Wait. Was that their dad?
Who?
The soup merchant.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is like, what if it was just a family that like shot this together and was like, hey, can we get Rowdy Roddy Piper? Like, yeah, of course.
Well, no, but I mean, like, in the context of the story, I think that's their
Oh
dad.
no, I don't think so. Was it? That would be hilarious.
It has to be, because think about the end.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the. I'm with you so far.
So it just clicked to me in this moment that that's why, because that's their dad.
It sure could have been, and I don't think anyone would have cared either way. So
Right, because it's not any better now. I mean, it's kind of cool that it connects
That's
back.
cool
But...
for the movie, though.
Right. So brother comes out of the trunk, and actually before he comes out of the trunk, I thought it was kind of funny. He's like, well, who are you? And he's like, I'm your brother. And it's like, come on, you know that's your brother. Like, be so for
It's
real.
oxygen deprivation. I'm telling you, they wouldn't put any air holes in his body.
Fair enough. He was a little loopy. But yeah, so then we have Ed. He's like, oh, let me guess, you guys don't have a good relationship. And they're like, well, what makes you say that?
Yeah, and it's like not even trying hard to mask the reveal at the end, basically.
Yeah.
Because he knows all about this dude kidnapping people, and for some reason they want us to believe that he didn't put it together ahead of time.
Well,
that he might be being kidnapped by the guy he's writing a fucking story on.
Right, exactly. And that's, why he has so much information, is because he's been writing a story and now he's the bad guy. Because earlier in the movie, he said, right, like, I was just at home watching a movie and then at cut to, I'm here. And so, yeah, like you're starting to think, okay, why is he there? But anyway, so yeah, so that's when, let's see, I think it was 28 minutes into the movie before I realized why it was called The Reconciler.
Yeah.
Because
it took me longer than that, but just because I didn't care.
Right. You weren't trying too hard.
I wasn't trying to uncover those like you were.
Oh yeah, no, that's how I watch movies. I don't know why, but like I can't passively watch a movie. I'm like actively trying to like put two and two together. And I think that's why this is like a side quest, but I think that's why I prefer like thrillers and psychological thrillers, because it gives me something to like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? But anyway, yeah. So he tells us we've been kidnapped by the does he call him that? Yeah, he does, right?
He's the one that initially called him the reconciler, like in his he's like a reporter, I think. He made a report on him and named him, I think.
Okay, yeah. So he says the reconciler kidnapped us, and they're like, oh, who's that? And he's like, oh, he kidnaps people who are having issues and forces them to reconcile or else. So it's like,
a normal thing to do.
Right. Well, I'm thinking, okay, I'll come back to this thought at the end. But yeah, but it's like, if you don't reconcile, you die. First of all, I'm like, put me in.
Spoiler alert, no one has ever died from the reconciler.
Right. And I'm thinking, like, you put me in that situation with one of my cousins that I don't speak to, we're dying. I'm not reconciling with nobody. But
that's the thing. I can hold a grudge. I've held grudges my entire life for people that may or may not deserve it anymore, and I still hate them.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm the same way.
So he starts telling stories about the reconciler's victims. The first thing is it's two cops. They're trapped in a sedan.
Yep.
In a operational garage from the looks of it, and they cannot get out of this car.
No.
The first thing that happens is she pulls her gun. I cannot remember her name for the life of me. Can you?
No, I can't either, because all I have is first flashback to people in the car, the cops.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Cop one. No.
Yeah.
I think her name is Stacy.
Okay.
I went ahead in my notes here. So Stacy's first reaction is just to pull out a gun.
Yeah.
To blow out the windows. Which for some reason she has her gun but no bullets. She can't like smash the window in with her gun.
As you were talking, I was just thinking that you're like, they cannot get out of this car. I'm like, wait, you're right. Yeah. They didn't try to break a single window. They're just like, we're trapped.
I don't know that they tried to jiggle the handle, Tahir.
They did.
They seem to want to be here.
No, she did try to get out of the car. Don't you sleep on Stacy. She did that.
Okay. Stacy, goals.
Right.
Escape queen.
Mm-hmm.
So they play a very Saw-esque recorder. You know, like we've said, we'll say it 100 times. It's definitely a Saw ripoff. They're not even trying to be subtle about it.
No.
They play the recorder. He's basically like, you guys are the best cops in the entire force.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of this escape room.
Yeah. It's like, get it together. The city needs you or else.
There's a lot of or else's
Yep.
that never pay off in this movie.
No.
I don't even know if there's anything else to say about that scene.
Well, so yeah, no, because this comes back later, but yeah, at that moment in that scene, yeah, she's blaming him, and he's like, well, what the heck, why are you blaming me? She's like, well, you're in the driver's seat. And I'm like, fair enough, Stacy. It's a good point.
It's kind of it's a recurring theme throughout the movie that everybody is blaming everybody else for being in the situation, but not like indirectly. They're like, did you kidnap me, son?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
Like, no, obviously he didn't.
We're in this together. You're right.
I think maybe Ed at the very beginning is like, is this like a hilarious prank that you're doing on me? And it's like, no, you dumbass.
Right.
You guys are in a warehouse.
Right. Yeah, you can't tell that this poor guy is terrified and about to beat you to death with a cane. Like,
so they go back in. Jacket guy corrects his brother for saying he in response to the killer to them, which I thought very progressive.
Yeah, I have in my notes. At least it's woke.
Yeah, it's woke. It's good. They did all the right things there. They're talking about the rich guy in town that I guess like owns most of the town. If you've ever been to a small town, one guy always owns everything. That's just kind of how it is. It's probably the same way in big towns. And his family went to Tahoe for the holidays, which sounds like a classic low budget holiday movie. You know, Tahoe for the holidays.
You're right. Very Hallmark.
Definitely Hallmark, I think. We can make it happen. Bad Bible Movies, Episode 2, Tahoe for the Holidays.
It's coming soon.
Yep. Joe, the son of the rich guy that they're trying to build up as being the reason for all this happening, seems to have a private mini movie theater in his house, which he's rich, which makes sense. That, as far as we can tell, he uses exclusively to watch plane crashes on the news.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Yep, because he was watching a movie. Oh, no. Yeah, right? He was watching a movie.
Well, his family had went to Tahoe for the holidays, coming soon to Bad Bible Movies. And he didn't go for whatever reason. They made up a Hallmark reason why he couldn't go with his family to die in a plane crash.
And then he got a call and ignored it.
Cut to a plane gently landing in the water, which we're supposed to think spiraled out of control and exploded. I guess.
Yeah, you're so right. Yep.
So Ed is like, he's telling them this theory, which is obviously what we're supposed to think happened. And then he's just like, I don't know where, he's just like, guys, let it go. It's a crazy theory.
No, but that sounds like Ed. Typical Ed.
Classic peak Ed overacting. Also, we can jump to the next scene after this, but it just, to me, like, the brothers are talking, and they have got to be the tightest estranged brothers in history.
Wait,
Right.
let's go back, because is this when he goes, they're like, what happened to the people that he kidnapped? And he's like, that's not important. And I'm like, but wait, it kind of is.
It doesn't matter right now, narratively.
Right. Exactly. But yeah.
But like the whole time they're just like buddy, and it's like you guys are supposed to have not talked for 2 years.
Yeah.
And hate each other.
I agree.
I don't know.
It's like not at this point at all obvious that there's like subtle things here and there, but they don't seem super mad. Like if I had woke up in that situation with one of my cousins, we'd be on polar opposite sides of the room. I'd be, Ed, can you tell so and so? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You would definitely die in this situation, is what we're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
They each got their own ransom, or not ransom. They each got their own letter, which I thought was nice because they could have just like had it all be like an email or just put it all in the same recorder or something.
Fair enough.
But they all read it out loud to each other instantly. Like there's no hesitation in it. It might be to set up the father later, spoiler alert, but it seems like what is the point of even having them have letters? Just so they could do the thing at the beginning where he's like doing the seal on the letter, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Because now that you mention it, in the beginning when that was happening, I was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
And I did think like, why? What was the point of that through the whole movie? But I get it now.
It gave the wrong vibes for what the movie was going to be. I did not expect it to be like a brightly lit movie at all, just based on the opening.
Yeah, it was definitely very Phantom of the Opera at the beginning, and that's not what it was.
Yeah, and so in Jacket Man's letter, it like the whole time he's saying stuff like, "You have a girlfriend, you have a great job, sweet leather jacket, you know everything's going right for you." And it's like, what is the point you're trying to make with this?
Right. Yeah.
Like, leather jacket guy has an awesome life. Moving on. In Ed's letter, it says, "If it takes you guys," this is what it says. It says, "If it takes you guys more than a week, then it becomes on to the brothers what happens next," implying to me that they're gonna eat Ed.
Yes. Easy jump.
The way it's worded makes it sound like they're gonna have to decide whether or not to eat Ed after a week.
Right. Yeah, no other possible option.
Right.
But yeah, this is when it really comes into play, the whole fix it or die situation.
Yeah. And then you had something you want to say about the army guy if you want to transition into that.
Yeah, so then we cut to two people gently resting on some rocks, and turns out it's a father and son. They're handcuffed together, and army guy, man, he's got some titties on him.
He is jacked like to the nines.
He is. That man is ripped.
Those have got to be the longest handcuffs in history.
I agree.
Right?
When the dad finds the note, he carefully opens it like it's the most fragile thing in the world. Like, you didn't just wake up.
He baby birds it.
You said what?
I said he baby birds it.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
exactly. And it's like, it's so funny because there's like no sense of urgency really in like any of these situations other than the twin brothers, because he gently opens up the letter. And it's like, if that was me in that situation, you wake up in the woods, you know, handcuffed to somebody, I'm ripping that letter up open to see what it says.
No. You're missing his army training that makes him ready to open letters under duress.
You're right. Did totally overlook that.
Can I say he has the cleanest army fatigues ever?
You're right.
Like clearly a set piece. I get it. Like, you know, picking on the movie and everything, but like
no stains.
They couldn't throw some dirt, get it at a secondhand store or something. Like,
right. Which also, how did they get there? Like, you would think that they would have been drug or something, you know, some leaves, throw a leaf on there.
Spoiler alert, Jesus got him there.
Jesus.
Let's not forget.
Foreshadowing.
Also, they look around for, I gotta say, like 2 full minutes. They just look around and say nothing, and it's just like padding in the extreme. And the movie's an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So they could have cut it off at an hour without the padding, I think.
Absolutely. So we find out that the son, the father,
And the Holy Ghost.
Yep, the father is in the army, and his son is resentful because he feels like he's never around. He cares more about the army, and that's why they're kidnapped by the Reconciler.
An army dude is hyper aggressive about the whole thing. Like, he really needs to chill out about it.
Yeah, he's on some steroids for sure. He's like, hey.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about steroids, but that actually does.
Yeah. Hey, son, what I do is important here. Yeah, that whole thing.
I'm an army guy.
Yeah, he's like, watch it.
My job's important.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I've never seen anybody that hated spending time with their kids more than this guy.
Right, because then, yeah, you're right, because they go up a little ways to a rock, and the son's like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, I'm gonna smash these handcuffs. And he's like, oh yeah, you don't want to be with me that badly.
Well, first of all, the kid is like, why would you even say that? You don't want to be handcuffed in any situation.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so obviously you're gonna try to get out of that situation, but he like takes it so personally. He's like, oh, you don't want to be around me, and it's like, no, I want to get out of here. Like, no urgency.
I'm not a fan of Army Guy, but let Army Guy cook on this one. Just
Right. Exactly.
He gives up on completely by the next scene. You think he probably could have got it off if he really wanted to.
You're right. You're so right.
It's also important to note, I think, that they're in a national park. Like an active national park with like railings and shit.
I noticed that too.
They be that far away from anybody.
From civilization. Oh no, the note says. Oh no, we don't learn what the note says yet, right?
No, but they do circle back to it, which I mentioned. But at the same time, it's like they can't be that far removed from society here.
Absolutely not.
It's like vending machines and shit.
Right, I noticed that too. I'm like, oh, nice little path. You got some railings there.
The dad says that I'm a U.S. Army soldier. I don't march to the tune of other people. And he's like, that is exclusively what people do in the Army.
Oh my God, you're so right. So right. Oh man.
They don't do anything else. The kid is probably the dumbest protagonist in any movie, I think.
Yeah, through and through.
They're trying really hard to set up like, you don't love me, like you don't want to spend time with me. It's like, not the time, not the place.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. Like, zero urgency. He's like more worried about being an angsty son who's mad at his dad than like actually getting out of there.
And it comes off as just completely unbelievable unless he's just the dumbest human being alive.
Which, two things can be true at once.
That's true. It's not mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm. So the next scene is our reporter. Did we decide what her name is?
No, and I don't care.
Reporter lady that the movie's about.
I think her name is Lori, to be completely fair to her, but it's not necessary for the story.
Okay, so Lori, possibly, maybe. So her next interview is with this family. She's sitting at the table with them. She's like, yeah, I just want to ask you some questions. And then the mom turns and looks at her daughter and she says, is that okay, honey? And little girl's like, and yep.
And the dad's over here cutting vegetables like,
yep, I have no say in this.
It's talking about Jesus.
So true.
Again. What are you gonna do?
Yep. And so then we hear this uncompelling story about a sick kid. And so
uncompelling is generous, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So little girl is sick. She dies, I guess, for a moment.
She does die.
Yeah,
yes.
And goes to heaven, but it's not like here, she says. It's another place. Yeah. And so she's describing, heaven. And then, so what's probably supposed to be cute is creepy because...
Very, very creepy.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because so she tells the lady how is this unveiled? I can't remember now. How she tells her, God told me that you would be coming.
That was incredibly creepy. What happened before that though is yeah. So basically, what happens is she's saying that Jesus gave her a hug in her death experience, I guess you would call it, and whispered in her ear that a reporter was coming to see her. Which, by the way, Jesus told her family that the reporter was coming and they couldn't have like a charcuterie board or something ready for her.
Well, Dad's preparing it in the background. You already said that.
They could not have given them a specific time. Like, I don't know.
Right. That's very Jesus. But yeah, so then this is when the little girl, she's like, he said you would come. He wants you back.
Jesus wants you back. Mm-hmm. Sounds a lot like a threat. It's super creepy. Off-putting at best. Also, first of all, Joel would destroy this girl in a debate. Can we just say that right off the jump?
I don't know that he would.
I think that he would go in. He would he would play word salad on her. She would get completely defied and then drop the whole thing.
I don't know. She had a personal experience. That means a lot to him.
That's true. One thing about Joel reads Bible is testimony influences him constantly. It doesn't.
Oh!
I
No, it doesn't.
before all that, by the way, we're introduced to another cop who's like the lead detective, and he's talking about he answers the phone and he's like, "I'm a gruff police officer," and then they're like, "We have a missing person." He's like, "Oh, they're not missing person for 24 hours." He's like, "It's been 3 days. What?" You know, the whole shtick. And then he looks back at the most boring conspiracy theory board ever put together.
I agree. There's like just a few perfectly placed red lines. Yeah.
There's no overlap. There's no like pictures getting in the way of each other. There's no question marks in big letters. Nothing.
No. And then the pictures, normally they're like surveillance style pictures, but in this case,
they're like class pictures where they're like,
yeah, exactly. They're like posing. They're like,
yeah,
for sure.
they're doing one of these like
exactly.
Buddy cop pictures. Great. Jesus wants you back. It instantly flash cuts from Jesus wants you back. She's like horrified for good reason, because this is a horrifying thing to hear from this girl with these jacked up teeth.
It's very Children of the Corn.
Very
he wants you too.
Come play with it. We all float down here, Georgie.
Right.
All the tropes. It flash cuts to Lori talking to Roddy Piper, and she's like, she basically says like, "You didn't tell me there were going to be psychic freak children involved in this story."
Yeah, she's like, "This is too hard. I can't do this anymore."
I'm a woman.
Right.
Yeah. Roddy's like laying into her because she's not doing her job, which, fair. But then he's like, "Don't cry," and it's like, I don't think she was gonna cry, dude. Like, where did this misogyny just come from? I don't know.
I mean, she's pretty upset. I mean, this is just a super difficult, what would you call it? Assignment. This is just a very difficult assignment that he gave her, and she's grappling with it as one would in her case.
Yeah, zombie kids are coming at her with psychic readings from deities.
Exactly.
Rough. And we touched on this earlier, but they're talking about the puff piece that she's working on. I'm going to call it a puff piece because, like, there's no way this is a serious news story. And anyway,
yeah, she's
surprised that it comes back to religion and God. And it's like, you're talking to a preacher. It's probably going to come back to God. Like,
yeah,
that's the whole thing, really.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
I also like that Roddy says unicorns come back. So he's like full on the unicorn doctrine, where unicorns are real because the Bible says they are. They're just not here anymore. Did you catch that?
No, what he says is, I get it. It's crazy. The whole idea is crazy. He's like, if you were to tell me that a unicorn's coming back to save us all, we'd be on the same, or what did he say? We'd be even. But
he does say unicorn come back. You just said it.
I know, but I'm like, yeah, I guess why that is weird wording. But yeah, that's what he was saying.
So Lori hates her job. Cut to next scene.
Yep. Oh, he's like, so what's going on here? Where are we? And I'm like, did you not just have this?
Back to the scene. Take it back. Okay, good.
No, oh yeah. So he was there. He after that whole conversation, he's like, so where are we? And it's like, where does it sound like you are? She wants to quit.
You're done with your shit.
Exactly.
You're gonna go get another job.
Yep. So
we're back to Saw again.
Yeah. And this is where the grief between the brothers and why they're there is unveiled. And
it comes to a head.
Yeah.
They're ready to throw down.
Yeah. And Ed's like, okay, cut it out. He like does the thing where he separates them and he's like, what's going on here? Yeah. Let's figure this out. And the beef is that one of the brothers stopped going to church.
He turned his back on God, Tahir.
Oh, right. Okay? It's bigger than that. You're right. And the other guy's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's just this very like dramatic, angsty scene between them.
Absolutely. We also hit faith isn't religion. We got them all in there.
Yeah.
Take out your bingo cards, everybody. They're gonna hit them.
Yep. So what happens is the older brother, by like a minute, he's like, our parents tried to raise us right, and they took us to church, and my brother, he he stopped going and he turned his back on God. And then the other brother's like, I stopped going to church because they never gave us a choice. And he's like, but I never turned my back on God. And he's like,
which he does say he kind of did a little turn his back on God. He walks it back like a little bit later when he's like, yeah, I had questions, whatever. But
yeah. He's like, but we should be able to have our own relationship with God, and that's grace. You have no grace, brother.
Whoa.
Very deep.
Let's all calm down. No one in this room is likable. I want to throw that out there.
Yeah, no.
I guess leather jacket guy comes the closest, but yeah, anytime he starts talking, then you lose the likability.
Once he talks too much. But I guess you're right. Yeah, I do kind of like him until he does the whole thing where he's like joking at inappropriate times in a very serious situation. But yeah,
they're definitely trying tropes with him that he just can't. He doesn't have the acting chops to pull off, I think. I think that's the problem with it.
I agree.
I also like that his brother, hoodie guy, I'll call him. I should really learn these people's names. He, out of nowhere, he's like, they just wanted you to come to church and be a good person. You call that like brainwashing? It's like no one mentioned brainwashing.
But
You're
also,
the first person that said anything about brainwashing.
Yeah, but also, yes, it is.
Well, it obviously is.
Right.
He's the one that said it. For sure.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that's the jacket guy's thing is like, it's a lot of gaslighting coming from the brother, and that's why they have all this beef.
Absolutely. Which makes him right in this case. I also want to point out that at this point especially, I'm just thinking back to the chest and thinking it's increasingly becoming less necessary to the plot that his brother was in a chest.
Agreed. Well, because there is no other possible way that they could unveil the brother in a creative manner. True. It's just not possible.
You know what? I'm on board with the chest now.
Right.
Let me mark that in my notes here. Chest good. Don't take that out of context. Okay. So
just good.
So we cut back to the lead detective guy in his car driving down without like his file on the case or anything. Like he doesn't need any of that shit. He can call people later to figure that out. He's driving and there's a lady on the radio talking about the case coincidentally, and she says he lets people die if they don't make up. But is he actually a good guy? It's like no.
Right. And how do we know that? Because nobody's died yet.
Then you can't say those two things in a sentence together and not sound ridiculous anyway.
Right. But the thing that I noticed about this scene, because I mean he's just deep in thought and he's really thinking, and so he calls the detective or the cop from earlier, and why is she the only person that has an iPhone? Because
she's also bird watching.
Yeah. Is that what she was doing? Because I thought they were trying to show us. Right. It looked like she was like.
Was she working on a sting, or was she just on her day off, or what? Like her knows.
Right. You're right. It's very ambiguous, but I thought that she was like on a stakeout because she's looking off into the distance and she has her binoculars.
But she's looking away from the bridge.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, just more silliness from this movie. But so he pulls out his flip phone and calls her, and she's on an iPhone, and I'm like,
he calls her from the 90s. Go on.
Right. I'm like, why does everybody else have a freaking flip phone? Like, and then she has an iPhone. Like, when was this movie even made? Like,
I think it was made over a decade.
Right. Exactly. They're like, let's fuse this iPhone scene in there. But
so I don't know if you pegged it or not, but Stacy's eyes the whole time are just overacting for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
No, I never noticed.
I'm not going to tell you to watch it again because torture is not cool. But I mean, like seriously, the whole time her eyes are just bugging out, and like she's like any acting that she was unable to do was done by her eyes. Is what I'm trying to say.
So, what did he just call her for advice?
He called her for advice, and he was like, he just casually mentions this warehouse that was under investigation during the case.
Yeah, well. Because
Which she,
isn't
of
that?
course, remembered. Good.
I was gonna say, because isn't that when her and her partner were kidnapped? They went to investigate the warehouse.
Oh, you think? I don't know.
I think, yeah.
Maybe. Was there a plot to this movie?
I don't think so.
But she remembers the exact address to the warehouse, including like directions from like the nearest gas station or whatever. You know,
Right. Yeah.
It's just great.
More terribly
then,
awkward dialogue.
Yeah, all of it. Are you cool? Are you cool with going back to Saw again?
Yeah.
Okay, so we cut back to Saw, and there's some great lines in this part. The jacket guy says, he says, I just wanted more freedom in how I love Jesus. You know, it's like,
yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
And as if to pound in the fact that this is a made-for-TV movie, they use the phrase, in a moment of anger, I said this. And it's like that. Bravo.
Right.
Bravo.
Yeah. And what is it that he said?
About in a moment of anger. He says, like, you know, it's just tropey nonsense. It's like, you lost your faith, bro. It's like, okay.
No, what he says is, what does he say? Hold on, I just had it. Okay, so he goes, it's almost like, or no, he says, I don't know how you're my brother. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
No, you know what it is? He says, like, if you were really my brother, you'd believe in God or something like that. So just a non sequitur that makes no sense to what he's actually saying.
And that's why they haven't talked in years, because he said that.
I don't know.
So one of the brothers storms off and locks himself in the bathroom,
which starts the best and only song in the movie.
Oh yeah, this is the sad montage.
That's what Faith Can Do is the name of the song. It's amazing. It's on my Spotify playlist now.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, I put it on my MySpace page so that everybody comes and can hear it too.
Good, yeah.
Very hacky, very over the top, very in line with the movie itself.
And everyone's just the sad montage. Yes,
that's how montage
exactly. You've got the cops in the car.
Next to a toilet. We're doing the montage right now, and it just occurred to me that like they're on like I said before, they're on an active hiking trail. No sense of urgency on this in my end. You know, I'm not worried about these people at all.
They're not running. It's just a casual stroll.
No, I think they're gonna make it. And then it cuts to the cops, and again, I can't stress enough. There's no way that two trained detectives could not get out of a sedan.
You're so right. It never occurred to me.
It's not like an army issue, like bulletproof car sedan. It's like it's got to be just a regular ass car.
Exactly. Like kick out the windshield. Come on.
We didn't have the budget to make it a better car.
Right. Exactly. We're just supposed to take it at face value. They're stuck and there's no way out.
And then I think after that we go back to, you know, obviously the sequence of events doesn't even matter that much in this movie because most of it's in the past anyway in classic Saw style. So we cut to the cops again, and they're having a argument, and like she's in the back seat, she moves up to the front seat, implying that they're gonna get better. Phil, who is the male cop, calls Stacy Stace. So audience, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. He called Stacy Stace. Pet names mean that there's no more conflict.
Right, we're getting somewhere, and we find out that their conflict is he was hired after her, she was there longer, and he got the promotion and she didn't, and she resents him for it. And
because of misogyny, they tried to make it sound like it wasn't like she was just overreacting, but like it is misogyny.
Yeah, it's messed up. And then I think this is why, taking it back to the beginning, why he said the thing about equal rights for some is because if he was like everyone's got equal rights, and then cut to one of the big plot points is that it's not right. You see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I see you. Yeah, like the broken leg dude with the cane thing, you know?
I like that. So he goes, Jeff's son, who he probably had a name. I don't know. I don't care. He and his dad are arguing about the letter because Jeff did not let him read the letter previously. And he's just like, just drop it, kid. Stupid kid. I don't want to hang out with you.
Right. You suck. You're not in the army.
The kid gets to read the letter, and my favorite part of the entire movie is the letter says, Jeff, you are a soldier. And the kid's like, It's just so hacky and corny, and I love it. I will give them credit. They did address that despite filming at like an active trail, that there was a reason for them not to have anybody else on it.
Yeah, it's a holiday and no one's gonna be here for a week.
It wasn't a great reason, but they did address it. So, you know, kudos where kudos are due.
Exactly. But yeah, so basically the note says you care more about the army than your son.
Yeah, which is accurate.
100%.
Jeff says, I have an important job to do. And the way he says it is as though he's talking in a booth by himself and there's no other human beings shooting that way. Like he had to come in on everybody's day off to shoot these lines. I don't know, he might just be an awful actor, but there had to have been some kind of direction issues too, because nothing that he says in this scene acts like he's talking to a human being during.
You're right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and you're like, you totally get why the son hates the dad.
Oh yeah. No, he's not likable. They do a couple of shots to show off Jeff's big voluptuous titties.
Yep.
And then Jeff says, it's late. It's broad daylight. It couldn't be any more in the day. And then what happens?
And then the son gets up to storm off in typical angsty fashion, and he falls off. He falls off the ledge.
Conflict. What?
Yeah, no, and
Okay,
oh my gosh, the editing of this scene, I couldn't. The FX were so bad. It was so bad. I don't even have words for how bad it was. But like, so
terrible. Lots of very close shots on faces.
And then when they show the son, like when he's dangling off the edge, it was just bad.
And I think his name is JR. I have written down here. Could not have told you that 2 minutes ago.
Right.
He is the most useless human being ever.
But thank God his dad isn't in the army though, because he gets him up.
And he just jerks him by the chain for some reason to get leverage. I don't know what like I get that like there was duress and they fell off a cliff and whatever. I don't know why JR just like fumbles into a puddle here. You know
right. I agree. Because so he gets him up. It's like, oh, he's saved. And then he just passes out. He's just like, oh.
Like gone.
It was so stressful.
And then Jeff starts to carry him up the rest of the mountain.
Yeah.
Cut to another irrelevant scene, right?
What?
The next scene is Lori talking to Emma, the old lady.
Oh, and the thing that cracked me up about this is like, I don't know, this movie loves like joking at inappropriate times. And so she says to her, well, I don't know why he brought you here. I haven't lived a saintly life. What did she say? Don't put that in there, though.
To which I said, Emma parties.
Right. But then the irony is it unveils that she does live a saintly life.
She did have a saintly life. Whatever. They walk over to a table with lemonade that's already out. I think we're expected to think that these glasses of ice have been out for like an hour, despite being completely fresh. Because she talks about it like, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to be here right away." So it's why are there glasses of ice ready to go? Also, if you have ice in the lemonade, just pour it out with the lemonade, right?
You're right.
Like, why is there ice?
Cups of ice, yeah. One of the things that I noticed about this scene is when we walk up on her, she's sitting at the koi pond on her property.
Yeah, she's got like a nice koi pond thing.
Yeah, and so
this bitch is rich.
Right.
Can we say that?
Wait, but she gave up everything.
And that's what I said. I was like, she says, I gave up pretty much everything I have while she's sitting next to a hot tub and a marble statue. Did you notice the giant hot tub unit behind her?
I didn't. I noticed the place is nice. I noticed that.
Under the balcony, there's like this giant hot tub. Like, she did not give up everything she had.
No, that's the Reconciler. But that's so funny because what I was gonna say is she needs help getting up. And it's like, why would you even go down there if you knew your ass was gonna be stuck? Like, what if...
Yeah, she did not have an out for it, mind you, because she said, like, I came down down here. I didn't know you were coming or whatever. Like, she didn't expect her to, like, get there. So
Anytime
she was just
soon.
gonna sit there until she died.
Exactly. I'm like, what are you doing, old lady? But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no, she clearly didn't give up everything.
Now, unlike Ed, she is kind of old, but they're way overplaying how old she is. Like, she's not that fucking old.
No. She probably power walks at the mall. But
Oh, she's a mall power walker for sure.
but so her story is
Oh my god, she had a story? Tell me.
yeah. So her and her husband, right? They had everything they could ever want, but because they had everything, they were distracted of their relationship with God. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, why do you have to have nothing and able to have a good relationship with God?
Because the church wants you to give up all your shit to them.
Exactly.
That's the thing, you give it to them. You give it to the church, so that's why they keep that narrative alive.
Yeah. And then also, too, I heard recently, like, if there was no suffering, what use would there be for a God? And I guess that's it, right? If everything's going well and you have everything, you don't need a God.
Which is absolutely what Emma's point was, except in the reverse, that you don't realize you need God, and then God leaves. He's like, I'm taking my shit and going home.
Right.
And then war happens, and then we start loving God again.
Yeah.
Emma says more crazy shit and then fade to black. Right?
So she gave up everything she owned, right? She gave up a shit ton of money and she gave it to a charity for Christians. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why didn't you send it to Africa? Like, actually send it to a homeless freaking shelter. You send it to a Christian, like...
Send it to anybody that needs it.
Exactly. So I just thought that was annoying.
Very typical.
Exactly. And then I have here in my notes, these moments she's having with people are not deep.
No.
The people she's interviewing.
You're talking about Lori?
Yeah,
everything she does is surface level. It's like basic walk up to any Christian testimony.
Exactly. It's nothing that's like life-changing, riveting.
It's vapid.
Totally vapid. But we missed at some point the one time that they did a jump scare in this horror ripoff movie.
Oh, the intercom thing.
Yeah.
I completely glossed over it.
I know. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so they have this like intercom, and it's revealed that it's not connected to anything. Do you know what it was saying? Because I have no clue what it was trying to say.
No, it was just kind of like rambling, basically. Word salad.
It's basically just to let us know that Jesus is there fucking with them.
Yeah, because you're like, whoa, how is this happening?
Yeah, Jesus Saw, if you will, instead of Jigsaw.
Right.
They're throwing them up with these like hilarious pranks.
Yep.
So that they'll be afraid of God and reconcile.
Because they're looking at this little radio, and then it's like, ah! And then it cuts to this really badly made transition scene. But anyways,
he's got the cord in his hand, and he's like, "How is that even possible?" And
it's
like, Jesus.
Yep.
Jesus made it possible.
Exactly.
So after Emma says crazy shit, we cut back to Jeff on top of the mountain. Nothing really happens here except that they find the bag. There's a book bag. I don't think we touched on that at the top of the mountain. That's supposed to have like the keys and shit on it. Who cares?
And there's like a bottle of water.
Yeah.
The son takes one drink and he's revived. He was just thirsty.
100%. And can we also just say that water would have to be warm and disgusting?
Yeah.
Jason couldn't come back and fill that bag every couple hours just in case I got there early or anything.
Right.
That shit was nasty.
Yeah, no, typical Jesus. You get what you get.
So true, bestie. I don't know if this was foreshadowed at all, but Jeff and Lori are married. I have to think that they tried to foreshadow it somehow, and either I just missed it or there was no narrative reason for it to happen and it was stupid.
They didn't foreshadow it, but that is exactly why I was wondering if that soup merchant was their dad. Because now everything is starting to connect, right?
The pieces are coming together. I'm with you. But honestly, I think it was just dumb. Like, there's no reason for it.
It didn't need to be there.
Jeff and JR come out horsing around like boys do, having a good old time.
And she comes home.
We're told that their relationship isn't great still, but it's on the mend. But like
Right.
they're overplaying their hand if that's supposed to be the case.
Right. Yeah. They're
'Cause,
besties.
they're doing like the knuckles, come here,
Mm-hmm.
you, that kind of stuff. So Lori goes to sit down and read her mom's Bible, I guess is the implication. Can I just say, and I don't know if you caught this or not, there's a green apple on the table that is so out of place, bright, distracting, in the otherwise gloomy, brownish room that I could not stop looking at it. You know what I'm talking about? Did you see it? Oh my god, it's like at the forefront of it. You got to see it.
I was too focused on her mouthing along really badly to the voiceover as she's reading her mom's letter.
I could not tell if she was doing that or if she was reading a Bible passage and we were
Right.
just having a voiceover. Because if she was mouthing to it, it was bad.
Yeah, it would.
Like, real bad.
You would never know what she was mouthing to.
If you like put it in a lineup with different like things, it would like there's no way you would ever pick up that was what she was reading. 'Cause it was not
Exactly.
even close.
That's what I was focused on.
So at this point, because all the pieces are coming together, like we said, we find out that God's love relies very heavily on kidnapping, according. And I think that's supposed to be our takeaway. Could that be our takeaway, Tahir? Because it feels like that's our takeaway.
Yeah, no, that's totally fitting. It's in the
That's
Bible.
what I'm thinking. The letter was supposed to be like uplifting and inspirational, but it was the most depressing shit ever.
I don't even remember what it said.
Well, her mom is talking about how like she's so useless without God and shit, and it's a very typical normal Christian shit that is just the most horrible shit you've ever heard. That Christians are just like, this makes sense and is love. Not
Right.
It's loving. It is love.
Right. And then she's reading it and she's trying so hard to cry. And nothing comes out. She's like,
Yeah.
nothing comes out.
And my takeaway from the letter is just that I would probably hate God too if he made my mom feel like a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we cut back to Saw again. I think this might be the closing scene at this point. The brothers hug. They've made up. They have reconciled. We have a title. Jacket guy is hugging his brother and does a thanks, J-Man.
Right.
Not at all subtle. And then the big reveal. Tahir, you want to take it and let us know what the big reveal is?
The plot twist is Ed is in on it. And Ed is an angel.
Or Jesus. I think Ed was Jesus. That's my headcanon.
Really?
Oh,
I was gonna say it was very much giving angel.
Yeah, he was supposed to be an angel. He walks off, and here's the big payoff to the cane. He walks without his cane, Tahir.
Never needed it.
And that's how we know that he was actually had Jesus powers.
Exactly. But that's
He has the single most off-putting smile ever.
more so than the little girl.
It's the little girl is at least a child actor. Ed is a full-grown ass man who's doing like this shit-eating smirk at the end of it.
You're right.
Like let him know, like, yeah,
I got you. Yep.
I got you. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, I got you. You know I did.
It really is just like a scene straight out of Saw, because in the first one, right, he's laying there the whole time and oh no, he was the bad guy, and they literally did that same thing.
What, almost shot for shot, except that Ed was awake.
Exactly.
That's the only difference.
Exactly.
If you would just splice those two scenes together, it would be the same scene.
Yeah.
Ed goes on to say that the reconciler being a person is what most of the world believes, which I think is incredibly generous to how many people give a shit about a localized kidnapping case.
Exactly.
Ed is Jesus. Big reveal.
And the reconciler is
God.
he's God.
Himself. Come on, give it up. Give it up for him.
He's God. He's kidnapping people, forcing them to make up, or else they die, which, what a very God thing to do. That guy.
Unlike in not so classic God faction, I don't think anybody actually died here, so
Fair enough. Fair enough. But it's like the whole threat, it's like, do this or you'll die. you know.
Yeah, very Bible. You pick any page of the Bible. That's where they got that from.
Yep.
He's talking about what his powers are, and he's like, I can do this and this, or other things as well.
It's like, what things?
I said that, man.
And maybe that's why I have in my notes, what a creep.
You should, behind the scenes, you showed me your notes, and that was all I read because I didn't want spoilers at that point. But I knew that's what you had to have been talking about. When
What a creep.
It's so creepy and off-putting.
But yeah, his powers were, what was it? It was unlocking the door of the sedan. Yep, opening the door for the twins.
And by the way, if you're not watching along at home, first of all, you're wasting your time because it was an amazing movie. Ed is just standing in front of things and doing like these corny, over-the-top hand motions.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's so bad.
So bad and so good. So then he disappears and opens the door for the brothers, and then the lead detective is getting there the whole time because they foreshadowed it with the whole like asking Stacy for the exact location of the warehouse. He gets there at the same time that the door unlocks, so again feels unnecessary. Very, very classic Christianity. It only happens when it's going to happen anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah, but no, that's another scene right out of Saw, because you know they have like the cops in the warehouse and they're going down the dark hallways, and that's exactly what we get.
Yeah, I think that was in the second one. So James, who's Hoodie brother, comes out, and they both come out, but he's talking to the lead detective, and he's like, "He was an angel the whole time, and I didn't kidnap my brother," and like he's definitely getting arrested for this, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's no way he's not getting arrested for it.
Because who did it?
So it fades out with them walking away back to the elevator so that he can arrest them and, charge them for police. Probably for the kidnappings of the other people, I would guess, at this point, because,
filing a false report or something along those lines.
Nobody's going to arrest Jesus.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No, he is risen.
So, like any good Bible movie, it ends with a moral, I guess you could say. I don't know what the exact word is for it. But it ends with a Bible verse that's supposed to tell us what the movie was about. 2 Corinthians 5:18, which had nothing to do with this movie.
Of course.
It just had the word reconciler in it.
And they're like,
if you have the Bible verse, feel free to read it. It's not important. It had nothing to do with the movie. So my takeaway was Roddy Piper was in a movie and didn't body slam anybody, so not good.
No, you liked it. I hated it. I hated it.
First of all, I like bad movies. I grew up with Mystery Science Theater and stuff like that. So
okay.
I have an affinity for it. One thing I'll say, the movie was good kind of thing, is great font on the credits. That it really drew me back into the movie. 10 out of 10, I think. But I will say what took me out of the credits was, and this is pedantic, they had director of photography, PHTOGRAPHY. So did you notice the misspellings in the credits?
No, I didn't watch the credits. Once it was done, I was free.
I thought I was being pedantic. There's several misspellings, at least 2 that I caught.
Oh,
I wasn't really paying attention.
no.
They had other recording facilities instead of facilities. And I just want to say the casting was done by one person, so shout out to my girl Lindsay Lucas. She really she casted a movie.
Yeah, she did. And like we said, credit where credit's due. Most of the acting was not bad. It wasn't bad.
Honestly, you said you didn't like the camera work. I thought the camera, at least it was a camera. Like, they didn't use somebody's smartphone or whatever, which actually might have been better at this point because smartphones. but like, they used a camera.
I guess the quality was good, but the way it was shot.
Video quality.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm one to talk about video quality here, I know, but still.
Yeah.
So credit where credit's due. They had some points. How many reconciliations out of 10 would you give this movie?
5.
5. Okay. I'm gonna go with. I think I'll go with a 6. You know what? I think it pushed right up into passable. Still a terrible Bible movie, but then that's coming from me, and I love bad movies. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't campy. I like a bad movie if it's campy. This was just bad. It was bad. The budget was bad. It was bad.
If there was a message, I missed it. Because it certainly didn't clear it up with the Bible verse at the end that was about reconciler.
The message was be good or you'll get kidnapped and might die by God.
It's not even be good, it's like each other or you'll get kidnapped.
You're right. Yeah.
Because you can make a case that Jeff was just not a good guy because he seemed like borderline abusive to his kid.
Right.
But like the two brothers, it like goes out of its way to say like these are good guys. You know, they have jobs and they contribute to. They just don't like each other, so I'm gonna kidnap and possibly murder them.
Right, and the cops too. Like, you know, they actually had a decent, you know, reason to have beef. Like, it wasn't like technically between them, but she got slighted, and she should be upset about it.
100%.
You know? Yeah, I'm sticking with my 5.
So, bad movie fans, I think we're going to end it there. Remember to check out Bad Bible Movies, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Quill.
I'm Tahir.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.